Hello, everyone. Welcome once again to the New Now. It's been a little while since I've done a recording. I've been away. That's why I'm going to call this one Gone Fishing, but not just Gone Fishing due to the nature of what we like to share here. This one's going to be called Gone Fishing in Infinity. So let's take a look. What does infinity mean? It's a good place to start when you're fishing somewhere. You're going to go to a lake, you're going to go to an ocean, you're going to go to a river, depending on what you want to catch or where you want to relax, you'll decide where to go fishing. For me, since I'm a funny man and I like to grow and expand and to see my consciousness and imagination and intuition and will get as big as they possibly can, I went fishing in infinity. And by that, I mean fishing for new ways to be, fishing for new business propositions or proposals, fishing for new ways to spend my time, fishing for new ways to be alive, fishing for new ways to direct my ikigai, which is my purpose in life. The Japanese translation, we did a video on that a while ago. You can see it on my channel. And what that really meant for me was 2, 3, 4 weeks ago, like it's been a couple of weeks since I made a video, I wasn't exactly sure where I wanted to go next. I knew what I didn't want to do. I didn't want to repeat myself, didn't want to go in an endless cycle of the known. I didn't want to, share what has been shared, at least on my channel through the 15 years we've been publishing newagora.ca. Check it out every day, something new there. I wanted to see what was possible for me in my life. I've done lots of things since I stopped being a stockbroker when I was about 30. I went on the road for 3 decades, more or less. And I've had all kinds of jobs, from baker to chef to gardener to matchmaker to publisher to author to artist to poet. I've written some songs and I've done all kinds of things. Traveler, gardener. I like all these things. So I wanted to see how to put everything in my life together towards something that was unique for me and would be my predilection. Like I like gardening, I like flowers, I like sharing with people, I like opening my heart. I like to see people are happy. I don't really care, on the other hand, if anybody does or doesn't do anything, because I am a strong believer now that everyone has already everything they need to succeed. Everyone is already born with everything required to have a good life. And, whether they are experiencing that as they see or say they are experiencing that or not, well, that's up to them to figure out, right? Like if you're not happy with something in your life and you want to change something, pardon me, then you do so, right? And if you have an excuse or a reason for not doing that, whatever that is, I call that the big buts, but I can't do this, but I can't go there, but I can't, or I shouldn't, or I wouldn't, or whatever, or I mustn't. Those are the challenges that come up, right? So you have to look at them and you have to see and you have to figure out for yourself. This is a bit of a recapitulation from the last 150 videos I've done, right? If you want to do something new, figure out how to go about doing it for yourself. Figure out how to go about making it for yourself. Figure out how to go about seeing that your happy destiny is unavoidable. I used to say it's unavoidable, but now I've changed that to it's available, and that we can all get there. We can all get to our happy destiny while we're breathing. I mean, after you're dead and you go back to where you came from, it's a guess for all of us what's going on the other side of things. I don't really fall one way or the other for near death experiences, because that's exactly what they are, a near death experience. If the person comes back and can talk with you and can share, well, then they're not dead. And if you're talking to ghosts or people on the other side or disembodied voices, they're just that. They're not alive anymore, let's say, even if they used to be. So once again, if you're here, you can't really know what's going to go on there, but you can figure out for yourself what's possible here, since you're here. And now you can see what you need to do to be alive. So for me, fishing in infinity meant going to the unknown to see what my intuition, my chokan, as they say in Japanese, is, or a direct, simpler way of putting it is my hunch. So I had a hunch it was time for a change, right? I had a hunch I wanted to make the world a better place. I've always kind of had that feeling. And what's come for me full circle from when I did maybe the last 100 videos I did is I used to think, even in my quiet way, that I knew better for people, right? That I knew what they needed. I knew where they could go. I knew how they could be happy and healthy and, better adjusted to their own destiny. And by that, I mean why they were born, what your predilection is. I feel every one of us, and this again is my intuition, they are born, they come, they decide to come here for a reason. Whatever that is up to you to figure out, though. I don't think there's one size fits all. There's bazillions of people. Probably each and every one of us has somewhat of a different destiny. We can share. I have a wife or a soulmate or whatever you want to call my lovely partner, and we are sharing our destiny, so far 13, 14, 15 years, because it seems to us it's working very well. We get up every day, I laugh every day, I have a good time every day, through the challenges that have come and gone, and it's allowed me to grow into the type of being I am. So by fishing in infinity, I mean, you're looking for more potential, purpose, and power for your life. Okay. Like, what is my purpose? Why am I here? Again, something you need to figure out. Are you here to have a family? Are you here to make the world a better place? I think we all are. Are you here to share what it is you've learned? Are you here just to bake the best cookies in the world and to get those out to make people happy with that? That's fine. I make hot sauce, I bake. All of those things are fantastic. I've looked at making any one of them a business for myself, though, and my guts have told me, nah, those are just something I want to do for love. I don't really feel like, turning it into cash or currency. But we all need to make a living. We all need to, in a way, generate abundance for ourselves. However you do that, though, I've come across all kinds of people that have done it through either working, through business, through sales, through luck, through inheritance, through having less than they require or not requiring anything at all. So they have everything they require. So really, again, how you get there from here is up to you. And I would say the potential, though, it comes from, if you're standing, let's say, wherever you are now, we all are, we're all somewhere, and we all, let's say that you're looking here at me and you're going, well, I want to increase my potential, Lorenzo. I'm just not sure what to do or how to do it. That's great. But everyone has a spot they can start from, simply because if you're standing somewhere and you have a challenge, like you don't know your potential, well, that's a good start to start imagining and examining and to see your potential. I'm stuck for this reason. Maybe you're not healthy. Okay, so then getting healthy would be your first step towards your potential. I don't like my job, as an example. So your first step towards your potential would be to figure out how to change that, how to examine that, or how to make the best of what you have right now until you can find a new solution, a new way to be, that sort of thing. So if you're looking at what's possible for you, only you can tell yourself what's possible and what's not possible. And by the possible, and by what I mean fishing in infinity, for me, it's to dream, it's to see, it's to imagine, it's to allow my intuition, whatever comes from places that is not or is not my thought process, is not my thinking, is not my words, it's not what anyone's told me, but comes from my center, my hara, my area of understanding, where new ideas come. I could have an epiphany while I'm dreaming. I can have an epiphany while I'm walking. I've had several epiphanies in the washroom. I'm a funny guy, so I've had funny places for epiphanies, and they've all allowed me to get an idea of wanting to build a different way, something new. Now, is an epiphany an action? Is a hunch an action? Is an idea or even your imagination an action? No, not at all. That's, I think, where a lot of people stop. They think words and talking and sharing is enough, and it makes them feel good for a moment, but it doesn't allow them to see how the world is going to react or act to their actions. In other words, if you quit your job and you move, maybe you're not going to find something new until you actually take that action. Okay, maybe your intuition is telling you it's time to leave. It's time to leave your job. It's time to leave your geographical location. It's time to leave your relationships, whatever. You can imagine and you can sit and you can have intuition for all kinds of ideas. You could be living in one country, your intuition could say, go to another country. You could be living in a relationship, your intuition could say it's time to leave. Your intuition, you could have no relationship, your intuition could say it's time for a relationship. But until you do the actions, you're never going to know what the world has in store for you, because the actions of the world, it's a creative process. This is next where I'm thinking your power is coming from your potential, and that you make your world, in my opinion, by your beliefs and what you see and what you do and where you go and how you go and what you allow. All of those things for me are true, is all I can say. And from there, if you're going somewhere new and you haven't been there yet, you can't think about what hasn't happened. You can have an intuition for direction. You can have an intuition for potential new business, let's say. You can have an intuition for the kind of relationships you'd like to build, as another example. But until you're actually in the situation, you never know what it's going to look like. And the funny thing I found about humans, including myself, in this world that we've been raised in, is when you want to move somewhere new, it's usually the fears that get to you. It's usually you're going to lose. It's going to be less. You're going to lose. Like, why do people keep jobs they don't like, right? Because they're afraid of losing the money. Why do people stay in relationships they don't like? Because they're afraid of losing maybe their children if they have them. They're afraid of losing companionship if that's what they have. They're afraid of being alone. Why do people like stay in a country if they want to leave the country? Let's say they don't like the weather, or they don't like the people, or they don't like the food. Doesn't matter. Well, because they're afraid of losing, right? They go, well, I don't know how many times I've heard, well, it's horrible, but it could be worse, so I'm going to stay where I am. Very rarely, and these are the people that succeed beyond their wildest dreams, that the people go, well, I don't really like it. Could be worse, but it could also be better. It could also be much better. I don't understand why most people that I've come across, and I'll talk about myself, and it's taken me, 3 decades of hard work, even over the last little while, to go, could be worse, but it could be better. And so, what have you got to lose except where you are and what you don't like by giving it up and going into your unknown? Whether it's an unknown job or an unknown relationship, an unknown path, an unknown journey, an unknown way to be alive, an unknown health regime, whatever. Most people I know, and including myself, don't really make those moves until they're desperate. Maybe they're too sick, maybe they're too stressed. Something is telling them, oh my goodness, if you don't leave this, you'll be miserable forever. You'll be unhealthy forever. You'll be stuck forever. And that's fine. A lot of times it's the best of all informants in your life is you get to a wall and you just can't take it anymore. I can't take this job. I can't take this relationship. I can't take being sick. I can't take the weather. And by that, I simply mean is a part of you has had enough of a certain experience and is screaming at you to go. And a lot of people still don't, right? They'll start drinking more, or they'll take other kinds of drugs, or they'll smoke, cannabis too much, or they'll block out their ideas, or they'll make themselves sad. They just won't listen because they can't imagine that there's something else that can happen. And by fishing in infinity, I have found there's nothing but other things that can happen. There's nothing but other ways to be alive, other jobs, other relationships, other potentials, other everything, right? From what you do as a physical being to what's possible as a dreaming being to what's possible as an infinite being. I've been studying and reading books of alternative ways to be alive since I was 14. Right, I was when a lot of the other boys were doing sports. Even though I did some, I was reading Edgar Cayce, Sleeping Prophets, Other Lives, Atlantean Lives, etc., alternative historical perspectives. And from what I've seen, even from a little bit of research, is there's nothing but, and there hasn't been in the past, and there thus could be the potential for the future, new ways to be alive, new ways to dream, new ways to see. I've heard we don't need food. I've heard, we can live 1,000 years. I've heard we can dream ourselves into other realities. I mean, I've heard all kinds of things. So instead of saying, "Oh no, that's not real," and they told me in university, and my parents said it's not possible, and my religion and this, I'm going, well, maybe that's all you have to say to yourself. Well, maybe it's possible, maybe it's not. Why don't I go take a look? Why don't I spend some time imagining a new way to be? Why don't I then do some actions and see what happens? I've left good jobs and had worse jobs after the fact and realized I've made mistakes. But then I've been moving, right? So I've gone from a job that was all right to a job that was horrible. Then I quit that, to start moving. And overall, as I look back over the last, 30 years of my life where I've been journeying, I've had some amazing experiences that I would not have done if I hadn't forced myself into them. You give up money and you have to learn to sleep behind bushes. I've camped in vans, in other words. You don't have a home, so you've got to bathe in cold rivers, which I've done, which have been amazing, actually. You go to a country that you're not aware of, you don't speak the language, and you end up, going up mountains. And I have where you're almost going to die because you're in the middle of the night and you're with someone. This is an adventure I had, and you don't know your way back, and you don't know the language, so you can't communicate with the locals. And I've almost died a few times. I was chased by wild bulls. I fell over fences. I almost fell into a volcano. This was when I was in Mexico. And now I look back on it. At the time, it was horrible, right? At the time. But now I'm going, whoa, I went through this experience. I'm still here. I'm alive. So I can face life and death situations. I can face being alone. I have had long-term relationships I've given up. I've spent long time celibate, or a long time a vegetarian, or a long time just a carnivore, or a long time doing what I want to do, or trying to be a breatharian. I fixed my eyes. I used to use glasses. I've done some videos on that. by learning to do some exercises, mostly by learning to love myself. Because I think everyone whose eyes are bent and not clear, maybe we're segueing here a little bit, is simply because they don't want to look clearly at their life and themselves and the things around them, because for one reason or, 100 reasons, they don't like what they see, so they choose not to see it clearly. So, of course, if your life is horrible, we'll come full circle to fishing in infinity, and you want it to be better, and you don't know how to move. First, in my opinion, you need to look at everything that's not nice in your life, because it's there for a reason. Even if it's there just for you to clean it up, to put it to one side and to get over it. If you're unhealthy, you're too skinny, you're too fat, you're too tall, you're too short, you can't breathe properly, you're out of shape. There you are. You brought yourself there, right? You ate too much, you ate too little, you didn't exercise enough, you didn't live in nature enough, you spent too much time on the computer, so your eyes got fuzzy, you hated yourself through puberty, which is when most people start using glasses because they were confused with their, the sexuality and relationships and things like that, because nobody gave me a good idea when I was growing up. I had TV, I had magazines, I had my crazy parents, I had my crazy friends. And, it's taken me forever to figure out for myself what a relationship means. And no one could tell me. Some people have shared some beautiful advice. Don't get me wrong. I've had some amazing people in my life that have helped me to where I am. I could not have been here without, hundreds of people that have shared in one way or another on how I can be a better person, either directly or indirectly. They've given me advice. And so what I'm getting at is, I've had some horrible times. I've almost died, a dozen times, maybe a half dozen times. I'm exaggerating a little, but I've been very sick. I've been holed up where I thought I was going to die in Mexico. I've imbibed too much of one power plant or another, and almost lost my way forever, let's say. But here I am, having looked back at all of this and figured out for myself that, geez, I can do it. I can see beyond, I can get beyond, I can grow beyond, because I've allowed myself to go fishing in infinity, in my infinity. And if you consider what does infinity mean, it means non-ending. What is our potential? If it's anything, it means anything. So you can have the potential to imagine that, whatever it is for you. And I don't mean you're taller or you're more handsome or you're more pretty or you have more money, which is the 3 or 4 things, or or you're healthier. Those are great things. Don't get me wrong. If you want to be, better looking, fix your energy. You want to have more money, fix your energy. You want to live longer, fix your energy. You want to have a better life, fix your energy. By fixing your energy, I would say that's where the power comes in. And from power, I mean to fix your energy to the point where you can do anything you say you can do, simply because you're choosing and willing to pay the price of dropping where you are, of dropping what's comfortable, of dropping what's not working to see what can work. And that's the trick that challenges almost everyone in this life, whether it's the government or the police or their parents or their children or their relationships, if they're married or whatever, in long-term partnerships with whatever, or the monetary system which shackles us or tries to shackle us, or the rules or the regulations or the religious limitations. Those are all things that can be dropped in a second. Will there be challenges? Of course. If you're married, there's challenges. If you're going to leave a marriage, if you have children, there's challenges. If you're children and you're leaving as parents and they're old and sick, there's challenges. If you're in a job that you've been in for 30 years and you don't know how to do anything else, but you have to learn, there's challenges. But what is life but a challenge? Like, if you think about it, at the end of your days, you can't take anything with you. Like, that's the thing. Most people don't consider, you can't take your house, you can't take your car, you can't take whatever, you can't, money is money. If you study money, you know what it really is. Even gold is just, a shiny rock from the ground. It may have some magical potential, but that doesn't matter. Try swimming with a pocket full of gold, you'll be dead soon enough. All right, try swimming with a pocket full of change or money. You're not going to get anywhere. Chances are you're going to want to strip naked and swim as fast as you can because you don't want to drown. And I think that's kind of what life is about. It's great to have lots. You can have lots of gold buried somewhere and use it. You can have lots of money in a bank account. You can have people to buy everything for you. That's great. You can go live naked in the woods and eat off the trees if you want. You can go hunting for rabbits or bison. I don't think there's a right or a wrong, as long as you're happy with the song you're singing and doing for yourself. So that's what I mean by fishing in infinity. And, this will probably be a 2 or 3 part series. We'll take it along. We'll still do potential, purpose, power, play, and seek to know through, your own experiences And again, here's the key: action, action, action. You're not going to get a new description of the world, your world. You're not going to get new potential. You're not going to get new ways to see until you do an action. Now we're launching, I'll get this off right here, and it's going to be very soon, Lost Soulmate Recovery Services. I was a matchmaker a long time ago for 2.5, 3 years. And I've been sharing information, as most of you will know, on how to have a happy, healthy, fantastic life. And I have found, this has been my experience, that after and since 13 years ago, I came across, I found, I tended my wife through lots of challenges to get there. My life itself has been amazing. And not because it's the happily ever after romantic Walt Disney or romantic novel notion. No, not at all. But more has come than I could have imagined by having a partner that wants me to be who I am and who I want her to be who she is. And that's really something that's amazing. Not to fit in a mold, not to be this kind of person or that kind of person or the imaginative romantic partner I expect, which I've been through, maybe everyone's been through, but to find someone that can give you what you're giving them by allowing you to grow through the bad parts, the stinky parts, the good parts, the amazing parts, the intuitive parts, the powerful parts, the beyond the social parts, etc., 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 and to allow you to grasp what you need to move forward. Now, it doesn't have to be a soulmate and it doesn't have to be a person, but for a lot of us, that's how it's worked. So the reason I'm mentioning this, send me an email if you like, leave me a comment on younow@uagora.ca. Reach out to Lorenzo. We're actually going to be launching a service probably by the end of this month, within a couple of weeks. So details to come. It's going to be a lot of fun. And, I successfully matched a few people when I was doing it. It's going to be a face-to-face, even if it's a Zoom face-to-face, not, an online dating app or anything silly like that. Personal. It's all going to be personal. Myself and a few other people are going to be working with it. And it's about getting to know someone as they get to know you, so you can put them together with people you've gotten to know. And it's kind of in a modern way, an old-fashioned way of a village of the people that have the same intent, the people that watch my videos and some of the other videos of the people that are going to be working with us, that understand there is a better way. You can have a better life. There is some fantastic, beautiful, new potential waiting for you, but it's not going to come unless you get off your behind and get over your big butts and find out how you can make those real for yourself by putting into play your actions of today. There you go. This has been fantastic. I'm Lorenzo. Thank you for being here. So again, gone fishing in infinity simply means to go look for something maybe you don't have yet. Maybe your intuition has always thought you could have, but you're not sure what it is. Even if you just are in a place where everything sucks, it seems to you 99.9% of everything in your life is horrible, whatever that is, but you don't want to stay there. You're willing to make the chance of a choice for change. That is a beautiful place to start, because from there you can move, even with the horrors, even with everything else. As long as you're breathing, you can change. As long as you're alive, you can change. It's the most beautiful gift all of us have. Like, we already have the best gift we could possibly get, that you can't spend any money to get, that no one can give you again, that you can't replay at the moment. Your gift, your life. It's all there for you. I have a strong feeling we're born with everything we require. We put ourselves in limited boxes for all the reasons that we can talk about in other videos. So if you imagine how you got there by looking at your life from behind, and you want to go forward and you don't want to make the same mistakes again, understand how you potentially and purposefully and even maybe unconsciously made your life the way it is, so that you can unmake it from the way it is, because you made it the way it is, which is beautiful because it's in your hands. Change the power, what you need to do. And from there, that you can see you can do more, you can be more, you can powerfully become everything you always imagined, but maybe you didn't even know what you wanted is going to show up soon. There's a lot more videos on the potential of what's going on right now in my life and what we're sharing and what's growing. And you can come along, you can join us even by just watching this video. I'm open to questions and suggestions. I also have In Love Unlimited. I do counseling. I do, partner counseling, etc., mentoring, what have you. Or, there's 9 hidden secrets. I did a video series with Campbell from Autodidactic. The link will be below. So many ways that you can do what you need to do. And I'm happy to help you as best I can and share with you as best I can moving forward. All right. I'm Lorenzo. Thank you very much for being here. I hope to see you here in the next one. I'll see you very soon. Gone fishing in infinity. Come join me. You never know what you'll catch.
Come and join me